why don't we move on to talk about another musical artist, someone a little more popular than her, who dropped a documentary on Netflix, Miss Taylor Swift.
Just a little bit.
I'm glad you picked that picture too, because that dress was just like
Yeah.
so absurd and out there, but I really thought it was great. I thought she wore it well in the documentary Miss Americana, which just dropped this past Friday, detailing basically Swift's life from when Reputation is snubbed, or I don't know, rightfully snubbed by the Grammys.
Not honored.
Yeah, not honored at the Grammys last year. To her dropping Lover, pretty much up to that day is when they chronicle, and her kind of like writing process. They also delve back into Swift's upbringing, kind of dive a little bit into her psychological makeup and how her earlier performing kind of led to her craving this constant validation and this like need to never be controversial in order to avoid criticism. I thought this documentary was really good in some aspects and really left me with a lot of questions, which I don't really want to leave a documentary with. How are you feeling after watching Miss Americana?
Yeah, it's funny too. Like going into this, Miss Americana was just at Sundance last week. Taylor was there promoting it, the director, and like in a sense, it kind of represents how Sundance changed, where we have stars and top tier film producing companies like Netflix at Sundance, which used to be the home of indie film looking for a home. So it's kind of funny. It's kind of nice poster child for how Sundance has evolved over the years.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, whenever a documentary is made involving with the creative involvement of its subject, you have to be a little cautious of what's being told to you. I think that goes without saying. And it's inherently going to be a hagiography at times. I think that, and you know, from like a filmmaking perspective, I think it looks fine. I like the way they interspersed like paparazzi footage and people's phone video and stuff. It was cool to see like some like real world stuff, like even those graphics when they're like showing tweets and stuff, and it was cool to see I guess a change like that. But and even like the more lo-fi video of like Taylor just like recording and running through songs in the studio and stuff. I think it looks pretty cool. It's cool how it moves around visually like that. But yeah, from the message, like I feel like if you're already a Taylor fan, you know, if you're a Swiftie, if you've been with her for a while, or even if you just got back on board for Lover, you probably like this and are happy with this because Taylor giving you more, and it's definitely Taylor opening up more than she ever has. That's certainly true. I think the issue, I think at least for me or someone who's approaching it with more critical lens, is that Taylor's only opening up as much as she is opening up because she's still being very calculated about it, because that's how she approaches everything. She's very calculating, and like, and whenever she talks about any kind of hardship or things that brought her down throughout her career the past few years in Miss Americana, she never, or in the documentary and Taylor talking, they never attempt to explore why really any of that happened. It's just more about how Taylor felt about it.
Yeah.
So like any kind of culpability that might have been necessary for certain moments is just totally absent because it's coming from Taylor's point of view. So I feel like you just kind of have to know that going in.
Yeah. I think that sums up an issue I have with the movie very well, which is I really like the part where they show Kanye West when he, you know, steals her moment at the VMAs. I think they do a good job of kind of like framing that, and like especially when they show the footage of her doing the interview afterwards, and they were like, "Were you a fan of Kanye?" And she was like, "Well, yeah, he's Kanye West," and like you can just see like how defeated she is in that moment. I think they do a really good job of like making you understand that, and also showing like her childhood and like how basically like when you perform from the time you're little, and you're basically just told like you're good when people clap and you're not good when people don't like it, like that's gonna fuck with your psyche. where I was left with a lot of questions. You know, like there was no Scooter Braun in this.
Yep.
They showed her advocating a lot for gay rights without really exploring her belief system in any sort of way other than she thinks gays should have rights. People who are gay should have rights. I don't think they really addressed any of the critique of her appropriating gay culture in this. I was kind of left feeling like if what you're trying to do is like come out of this and basically, I don't know if they're trying to make Taylor bulletproof, but really like make you have sympathy for her. I didn't really walk away with that much, especially because, like you said, some of the things that they said have grounded Taylor and helped her move on to make a much better record is she's developed a new relationship. We see one shot of this man walking with her in a distance, and then it's just never mentioned again. And we never see that person.
Of all people, man.
Right? It's like, and she's like, someone who's a lot more grounded. I was like, okay, really? Like, he's also a celebrity.
Another famous person?
Yeah. I was like, okay. You know, you see her talking about her, like, how she feels like she has to step into this Democratic, I don't know, election and was like Nashville. And I'm like, okay, but like, please explain more. Like, why do you believe these things? Like,
right.
You've been this person who's been in the public zeitgeist for the last 15 years, half your life, and you've never had any political leanings, and now all of a sudden you do. Like,
right.
Please just explain it further.
And it also doesn't say what's left unsaid is that Taylor chose to finally reveal a political stance because it was in her best interest to finally do that, you know?
Yeah.
So whether it was genuine or not, we have no idea.
Mm-hmm.
But you can still be skeptical of how it's presented. So it's challenging, you know? It was interesting seeing, you know, start with Reputation and then have Taylor be like, I got to make a better album, which, yeah, that is exactly what you needed to do. It's interesting to see you understand that in the moment, even as you're doing an arena tour of the album.
Yeah.
You know, that was cool. That was interesting. You know,
yeah.
I wouldn't mind a follow up to this just because Lover did not get an Album of the Year nomination at the Grammys. That just happened.
Right.
And Taylor thusly did not attend the Grammys as a result because it wasn't nominated up to her standard. And that was certainly a album that was, you know, definitely in the mix and worthy of that kind of recognition. So I'd love to know how she feels now. You know, the story's not over.
I know she received a nomination for songwriting. And I think she was the only songwriting nomination where she was like the solo writer on it. So I assume she's probably at least pleased with that. But yeah, I would like to see like if she's like, okay, now I've made the record I want to make, or if it's still about like getting recognized and winning awards, or if she could just be satisfied with feeling like she did something that's right for her.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. Taylor Swift's a very complicated public figure, and I don't really know how to uncomplicate her unless she wants to be more transparent, you know, and that's doesn't seem like something she really wants to do.
Well, and that's the thing. I think some of the best parts of the doc is when she's just talking about more about how she felt about or changed how she thought about things, right? Like her public image, like from a physical perspective, and being very body conscious, and you know, having an eating disorder in a certain sense. That's great to hear, and yeah, that's not like I guess an uncommon story to be told from famous people. I think that was still important for her to share that with her fans. I think that'll definitely hit home with a lot of people, especially a lot of women. So that was awesome. And like I don't like, was that widely known sentiment from hers? I'm not sure if that's like a new reveal as someone who doesn't follow everything that happens with Taylor, but that was really great.
Yeah,
and
I agree.
Yeah, I mean, like her family and stuff, and like her close confidants, and even like her like management and stuff, they're like in the periphery of the doc, but like there's not a whole lot extra. Like I just wish we didn't dig deep enough. That's the problem.
Yeah, we must go deeper,
and that's because it's coming from Taylor.
Yeah,
went as deep as she wanted to go.
I do have to say, really enjoyed pretty much all the scenes of her in the studio. Even when she's making a song like Me, which I don't think is like a great song, but like seeing her and Brandon Urie like kind of riff on things and like piece it together, and like when her and Jack Antonoff, I forgot which song it was they were working out, but they like finally figure some lyric out, and you can see them both like getting to it. I was like, oh,
Yeah,
this
it's really
is
cool.
like, yeah, this is when you can like really appreciate the genius of these two. So,
Yeah, like
good
when
shit.
she's like, when they're doing Me, and she's like, I think we got the first single, and I was like, fuck, yeah, that was the problem. It was the first single.
Right, exactly.
They probably just made it first, I guess. That's probably what happened. I don't know.
I also love the back and forth with her and Brandon Urie, where she's like, "How about you say it like me?" And he's like, "Okay, like me." And he's like, "No, like me." And like it's like the subtlest little difference, and he just
Mhm.
can't figure it out. I was dying at that, but it's worth watching. I mean, it's as I said, complicated figure. Never going to be uncomplicated. But I think it, as someone that's going to be popular for a very long time.
Yeah,
Unless
she's what,
something,
30 now?
yeah.
Like,
So we have another like 30 to 40 years of her probably.
right.
I think it's worth the watch.